There is a version of you that already exists in the future. That person wakes up with confidence. They trust themselves. They keep promises to themselves. They are healthier, stronger, calmer, more focused, and more capable than they are today. The distance between who you are and who that person becomes is not measured in years. It is measured in discipline. Many people spend their lives waiting for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for confidence to arrive. They wait until they feel ready. But discipline works differently. Discipline acts before feelings catch up. It moves before certainty appears. It takes action while excuses are still speaking. And because of that, discipline creates lives that look completely different from the lives built by emotion alone. Most people dramatically underestimate what 6 months can do. 6 months sounds small. It sounds ordinary. It sounds temporary. But 6 months of focused effort can alter the direction of an entire life. A person can transform their health in 6 months. A person can learn valuable skills in 6 months. A person can build a business foundation in 6 months. A person can repair self-respect in 6 months. A person can completely change their habits in 6 months. The challenge is not the length of time. The challenge is remaining committed long enough to allow the results to appear. Because discipline often feels unfair in the beginning. You work hard and nothing changes. You wake up early and nothing changes. You exercise and nothing changes. You study and nothing changes. You save money and nothing changes. You stay focused and nothing changes. At least that is how it appears. Beneath the surface, however, change is happening. The problem is that most transformation is invisible. Before it becomes visible, a seed grows underground before anyone sees a plant. A building requires a foundation. Before anyone sees a structure, a strong mind develops through thousands of small choices. Before confidence becomes obvious. The early stages of growth rarely receive applause. Nobody notices when you wake up 1 hour earlier. Nobody notices when you choose discipline over comfort. Nobody notices when you spend another evening improving yourself, while others waste time. But those moments matter. Those moments are where your future is quietly being constructed. Every meaningful transformation begins in private. The world celebrates outcomes. Discipline focuses on process. The world notices success. Discipline notices habits. The world admires results. Discipline values repetition. That is why so many people quit too soon. They judge their progress by visible rewards. When rewards do not arrive quickly, they assume their efforts are not working. In reality, the rewards are simply delayed. Delayed gratification is one of the most powerful forces available to human beings. Yet, it is also one of the rarest. Most people want immediate comfort, immediate pleasure, immediate entertainment, immediate validation. The human brain naturally seeks short-term rewards. That tendency helped our ancestors survive. But in the modern world, it often prevents growth. Today, comfort is available everywhere. You can avoid boredom instantly. You can avoid effort instantly. You can distract yourself instantly. You can escape discomfort instantly. Every day, countless opportunities exist to choose what feels good now instead of what creates a better future. The difficult truth is that your life often reflects which option you choose most frequently. A person who consistently chooses immediate comfort creates one future. A person who consistently chooses delayed gratification creates another. The difference may not appear after one day. It may not appear after 1 week. But 6 months later, the gap becomes impossible to ignore. Imagine two individuals beginning from the same position. They have similar abilities, similar resources, similar opportunities. One decides to spend 30 minutes each day improving, 30 minutes reading, 30 minutes exercising, 30 minutes learning, 30 minutes planning. The other decides to postpone those actions until tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. The months pass. Nothing dramatic happens on any single day. No magical transformation occurs overnight. Yet, eventually, their lives begin moving in different directions. One gains momentum. The other gains regret. This is the hidden power of discipline. It compounds, just like money invested over time grows through compound interest. Disciplined actions grow through compound results. Small improvements accumulate. Tiny habits accumulate. Minor choices accumulate. Eventually, the accumulation becomes a transformation. Many people search for dramatic breakthroughs. They imagine success arriving through one life-changing moment. Sometimes, those moments exist. Most of the time, they do not. Most success is simply accumulated discipline. A person writes a few pages every day. A person saves a little money every month. A person exercises several times each week. A person practices a skill repeatedly. Years later, observers call them talented, lucky, or gifted. What they rarely see are the thousands of disciplined decisions that created the outcome. Discipline is often invisible to outsiders. The result is visible. The effort is not. That misunderstanding causes many people to underestimate what achievement actually requires. They compare someone's visible success to their own invisible preparation. They compare outcomes while ignoring process. And because they do not see the process, they assume they cannot achieve similar results. But discipline is not reserved for extraordinary people. It is available to ordinary people willing to do ordinary actions consistently. That consistency is where the challenge begins. Most people are enthusiastic at the start. Beginnings are exciting. New goals feel inspiring. New plans feel energizing. New possibilities create hope. The real test arrives after the excitement fades. What happens when motivation disappears? What happens when progress slows? What happens when results remain invisible? That is where discipline separates itself from motivation. Motivation says, I feel like doing this. Discipline says, I am doing this regardless. Motivation depends on emotion. Discipline depends on commitment. Motivation is valuable. Discipline is reliable. The problem with relying solely on motivation is that feelings constantly change. Some mornings you wake up energized. Some mornings you do not. Some days confidence is high. Some days doubt appears. Some days effort feels easy. Some days effort feels exhausting. If your actions depend entirely on your emotions, consistency becomes impossible. Your progress rises and falls with your mood. Discipline creates stability. It allows action even when emotions are uncooperative. It allows progress even when enthusiasm disappears. It allows growth even when nobody is watching. This is why disciplined individuals often achieve more than naturally motivated individuals. They continue moving when others stop. They continue practicing when others quit. They continue building while others wait. Over time, those additional days create extraordinary differences. You do not need perfect discipline. You do not need flawless habits. You do not need superhuman willpower. You simply need to become slightly more consistent than you were yesterday. Perfection is not the goal. Consistency is. Many people destroy their progress because they believe every mistake means failure. They miss one workout, they abandon the entire routine. They miss one productive day, they abandon the entire goal. They make one poor choice. They decide they have ruined everything. This mindset creates unnecessary setbacks. A disciplined person understands something important. One mistake is an event. Repeated surrender becomes a pattern. There is a significant difference between falling off track and deciding to stay off track. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone loses focus. Everyone experiences setbacks. The critical question is whether you return. Discipline is not demonstrated by never failing. Discipline is demonstrated by returning after failure, again and again. Each return strengthens your identity. Each return reinforces self-trust. Each return teaches your mind that temporary setbacks do not control your future. Self-trust is one of the greatest rewards discipline creates. Many people underestimate its importance. When you repeatedly break promises to yourself, confidence begins to erode. You tell yourself you will wake up earlier. You do not. You tell yourself you will exercise. You do not. You tell yourself you will focus. You do not. Over time, your mind starts questioning your own words. Your promises lose credibility, not because you are incapable, because your actions repeatedly contradict your intentions. Discipline repairs this damage. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, trust increases. You say you will walk for 20 minutes. You do it. You say you will read 10 pages. You do it. You say you will save a portion of your income. You do it. These actions seem small, but your mind notices. Your mind begins learning that your words can be trusted. That trust changes everything, because confidence is not built by positive thinking alone. Confidence is built through evidence. When you consistently follow through, you create evidence. Evidence becomes belief. Belief becomes confidence. Confidence becomes action. Action creates more evidence. The cycle strengthens itself. Soon you begin seeing yourself differently, not as someone who talks about goals, but as someone who pursues them, not as someone controlled by impulses, but as someone capable of making deliberate choices, not as someone waiting for life to improve, but as someone actively creating improvement. This shift in identity is powerful. Most lasting transformation begins when identity changes before circumstances do. A person who sees themselves as disciplined behaves differently from a person who sees themselves as undisciplined. The actions follow the identity. An identity is shaped through repeated behavior. Every disciplined action becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you strengthen that identity. Every time you choose responsibility over excuses, you strengthen that identity. Every time you choose long-term rewards over short-term pleasure, you strengthen that identity. Eventually, those votes accumulate, and the person you once hoped to become starts feeling familiar. The most remarkable changes often happen so gradually that you barely notice them while they are occurring. One day, you realize you are handling situations that once overwhelmed you. You notice that distractions no longer control your attention as easily. You discover that difficult tasks no longer seem impossible. The growth feels subtle because it was built through countless small moments. Discipline rarely announces itself. It works quietly. It strengthens you while nobody is paying attention. It prepares you for opportunities that have not yet appeared. Many people want extraordinary lives while maintaining ordinary levels of commitment. They want exceptional results from inconsistent effort. They want confidence without discomfort. They want success without sacrifice. They want change without changing. Life does not usually operate that way. Every meaningful achievement requires some form of exchange. You exchange comfort for growth. You exchange convenience for progress. You exchange immediate pleasure for future rewards. The question is never whether you will make sacrifices. The question is whether your sacrifices are intentional. Everyone sacrifices something. Some sacrifice temporary comfort in order to create a better future. Others sacrifice their future because they repeatedly choose temporary comfort. The cost exists either way. Discipline simply allows you to choose which cost you will pay. There is a hidden price attached to procrastination. Most people only notice the comfort it provides in the moment. They do not notice the anxiety it creates later. They do not notice the opportunities it quietly removes. They do not notice the confidence it gradually steals. Every postponed responsibility remains in the background of your mind. Every avoided task consumes energy. Every delayed decision occupies mental space. That is why disciplined people often experience greater freedom. From the outside, discipline can appear restrictive. Schedules seem restrictive. Routines seem restrictive. Commitments seem restrictive. But structure often creates freedom. A person who manages money carefully experiences financial freedom. A person who manages time carefully experiences greater control over life. A person who manages health carefully enjoys physical freedom. Discipline creates options. Lack of discipline removes them. The irony is that short-term freedom frequently creates long-term limitations. Long-term discipline frequently creates greater freedom. The person who never exercises may feel free today. Years later, their body may limit what they can do. The person who never saves money may feel free today. Years later, financial pressure may control their choices. The person who never develops valuable skills may feel free today. Years later, opportunities may become scarce. Discipline asks for effort now, so that life becomes easier later. Avoidance makes life easier now, so that life becomes harder later. Every day presents these choices in small forms. Most life-changing decisions do not feel life-changing when they happen. They feel ordinary. You decide whether to wake up when the alarm rings. You decide whether to complete the task. You decide whether to keep your promise. You decide whether to improve or postpone. The decisions seem insignificant because they are small, yet their cumulative effect is enormous. A river carves through stone, not because of a single moment of force. It succeeds through persistence. Discipline works the same way. Persistence accomplishes what intensity alone cannot. Many people begin with intensity. Few continue with persistence. Intensity feels exciting. Persistence feels repetitive. Intensity attracts attention. Persistence often goes unnoticed. Intensity creates dramatic starts. Persistence creates lasting results. If you had to choose only one, persistence would matter more. A moderate effort, sustained for 6 months, will outperform an extreme effort sustained for 6 days. This truth frustrates people because consistency lacks drama. There is no exciting story in repeating simple actions every day. There is no instant gratification. There is no immediate transformation. There is only the quiet accumulation of progress. Yet, that accumulation changes everything. Think about the habits that shape most lives. The daily walk, the daily reading, the daily workout, the daily study session, the daily savings habit, the daily effort to improve communication. None of these actions seem extraordinary in isolation. Together, they become powerful. Small actions, repeated consistently, possess a strength that most people never fully appreciate. The challenge is that results arrive after commitment is required. You must commit before certainty exists. You must act before evidence appears. You must trust the process before rewards become visible. That requires patience. Patience is one of the most valuable qualities discipline develops. Modern life encourages impatience. Everything arrives quickly. Information arrives instantly. Entertainment arrives instantly. Communication arrives instantly. Convenience arrives instantly. Because so much is immediate, people begin expecting immediate progress as well. But meaningful growth still follows its own timeline. Muscles require time. Skills require time. Trust requires time. Relationships require time. Mastery requires time. Character requires time. There are no shortcuts around these realities. The person who understands this gains a significant advantage. They stop demanding instant results. They stop becoming discouraged by temporary delays. They stop measuring success by daily outcomes. Instead, they focus on showing up. Showing up sounds simple. In practice, it changes everything. Showing up when motivated is easy. Showing up when tired is different. Showing up when discouraged is different. Showing up when nobody notices is different. Those are the moments that build discipline. Those are the moments that shape character. Character is not created during easy circumstances. Easy circumstances reveal very little. Anyone can maintain positive habits when conditions are ideal. The true test arrives when conditions become inconvenient. Can you remain committed when progress feels slow? Can you remain focused when distractions become tempting? Can you remain disciplined when excuses become convincing? Those moments reveal who you are becoming. Every excuse sounds reasonable in the moment. That is why excuses are dangerous. Rarely do they announce themselves as self-sabotage. Instead, they sound practical. They sound logical. They sound harmless. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow. You tell yourself one missed day does not matter. You tell yourself conditions are not perfect. You tell yourself you need more time. You tell yourself you need more motivation. One excuse seems insignificant. Repeated excuses become a habit. Eventually, the habit becomes a lifestyle. Months pass. Years pass. Potential remains unrealized. Not because the person lacked ability, because they repeatedly delayed action. Discipline interrupts this pattern. It teaches you to act despite resistance. Resistance never disappears completely. Even highly disciplined individuals experience resistance. They simply stop negotiating with it. When the alarm rings, they act. When the task appears, they begin. When discomfort arrives, they continue. This does not mean they enjoy every moment. It means they understand something important. Feelings are temporary. Decisions create consequences. If you wait until every action feels comfortable, progress becomes impossible. Growth often feels uncomfortable precisely because it requires change. The mind prefers familiarity. Even familiar problems can feel safer than unfamiliar opportunities. That is why people sometimes remain trapped in situations they dislike. The situation is uncomfortable. The possibility of change feels uncertain. The mind chooses certainty over possibility. Discipline helps break this cycle. It trains you to move forward despite uncertainty. It trains you to tolerate temporary discomfort. It trains you to prioritize long-term outcomes. Over time, this becomes a competitive advantage. Not because you become perfect, because you become dependable. Dependability is underrated. A dependable person completes responsibilities. A dependable person follows through. A dependable person earns trust. Trust creates opportunities. Opportunities create growth. Growth creates momentum. Momentum is powerful because success becomes easier to sustain once movement begins. Starting is often the hardest step. The first workout, the first page, the first decision, the first attempt, the first uncomfortable conversation, the first commitment. Beginning requires courage. Continuing requires discipline. Once momentum develops, effort starts producing visible rewards. Those rewards strengthen commitment. Commitment strengthens action. Action strengthens results. The cycle begins working in your favor. Many people spend years waiting for a dramatic transformation, when what they actually need is a series of ordinary disciplined days. A disciplined day may not feel impressive. You wake up when planned. You complete your responsibilities. You improve in small ways. You keep promises to yourself. Then you repeat the process tomorrow. One day changes very little. 6 months changes a great deal. The person you become after 6 months of disciplined behavior is not simply someone with better habits. You become someone with greater self-respect. Self-respect grows when your actions align with your values. When you repeatedly betray your own standards, self-respect declines. When you repeatedly honor your standards, self-respect increases. This relationship is impossible to avoid. Your mind is always observing what you do. It notices whether your actions match your words. It notices whether you follow through. It notices whether you retreat when challenges appear. Every decision communicates a message to yourself. When you choose discipline, the message becomes clear. You are someone who can be trusted. You are someone who takes responsibility. You are someone who keeps moving forward. That message grows stronger every time it is reinforced. Eventually, it becomes part of your identity. An identity is powerful because people naturally act in ways that support how they see themselves. A person who identifies as disciplined no longer debates every action. They do not spend excessive energy deciding whether to do what needs to be done. They simply do it. The behavior becomes normal. The habit becomes automatic. The effort becomes integrated into daily life. This is where discipline begins, transforming from something you practice into something you possess. Not because the work becomes easy, because consistency becomes natural. The remarkable thing about this process is that it is available to anyone willing to participate in it. Not just the talented, not just the wealthy, not just the fortunate. Anyone can begin making disciplined choices. Anyone can start building self-trust. Anyone can start creating momentum. Anyone can start becoming the kind of person who refuses to allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent outcomes. The future often changes long before circumstances reveal it. It changes the moment a person decides that excuses will no longer lead their life. It changes the moment a person accepts responsibility for their direction. It changes the moment a person chooses consistency over intensity and commitment over convenience. And once that decision is reinforced day after day, something remarkable begins to happen. The gap between the life you have and the life you want slowly starts to close. As that gap begins to close, something else changes as well. Your relationship with time starts to transform. Many people see time as an opponent. They feel as though it is moving too quickly. They feel left behind. They feel pressured by comparisons. They feel frustrated by how long meaningful progress seems to take. But discipline teaches a different lesson. Time becomes an ally. Instead of fighting against it, you begin working with it. You stop asking how quickly results can arrive. You start asking what consistent effort can accomplish over months and years. That shift changes everything. The person who constantly seeks immediate results often becomes discouraged. The person who understands the power of time remains patient. Patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is the willingness to continue planting seeds before seeing a harvest. It is the willingness to continue building before seeing the finished structure. It is the willingness to continue improving before receiving recognition. Most people admire confidence. Few understand where confidence comes from. Real confidence is not built through positive words alone. It is built through repeated proof. Every disciplined action becomes proof. Every completed responsibility becomes proof. Every promise kept becomes proof. Your mind collects this evidence. Eventually, it becomes impossible to ignore. You stop hoping you can handle challenges. You know you can. Not because life became easier, because you became stronger. This is one of the greatest gifts discipline offers. It changes how you see yourself. Many people spend years searching for confidence in external places. They search for approval. They search for validation. They search for praise. Those things can feel good temporarily, but they cannot replace self-respect. Self-respect is earned internally. It develops when your actions align with your standards. It develops when you choose responsibility. It develops when you follow through. No amount of external praise can fully compensate for a lack of self-trust. Likewise, criticism loses much of its power when you trust yourself. A disciplined person understands this. They are not dependent on constant encouragement. They appreciate support, but they do not require it to act. They have learned to become their own source of accountability. That independence creates strength, because life will not always provide ideal conditions. Some days, nobody will encourage you. Some days, nobody will notice your effort. Some days, nobody will recognize your progress. You must still continue. The ability to continue without applause is one of the defining traits of disciplined people. They understand that many of the most valuable rewards arrive later. The workout may not feel rewarding immediately. The study session may not feel rewarding immediately. The savings habit may not feel rewarding immediately. The difficult conversation may not feel rewarding immediately. But delayed rewards are often the most meaningful rewards. Health is a delayed reward. Wisdom is a delayed reward. Financial stability is a delayed reward. Mastery is a delayed reward. Freedom is a delayed reward. These outcomes are rarely purchased in a single moment. They are accumulated day after day, choice after choice, action after action. The beauty of discipline is that it remains available every day. You do not need a perfect past. You do not need ideal circumstances. You do not need exceptional talent. You only need the willingness to make the next right choice. Many people become trapped because they focus on everything they failed to do. They replay old mistakes. They revisit old regrets. They carry disappointment from years ago. Discipline teaches a more useful perspective. The past can provide lessons. It does not have to provide limitations. No matter what happened yesterday, today still offers choices. No matter how many opportunities were missed, new opportunities still exist. No matter how many promises were broken, new promises can still be kept. The future remains remarkably flexible. It responds to action. This is why 6 months can be so powerful. 6 months is long enough to create meaningful change, yet it is short enough that most people can clearly imagine it. Imagine waking up 6 months from now. Imagine carrying yourself differently. Imagine possessing greater self-respect. Imagine having stronger habits. Imagine having more energy. Imagine having more focus. Imagine feeling proud of how you used your time. Those outcomes are not fantasies. They are possibilities. and possibilities become reality through disciplined action, not through wishing, not through waiting, not through hoping that circumstances magically improve, through action, small action, consistent action, repeated action. There will always be reasons to delay. There will always be distractions. There will always be obstacles. Life does not pause its challenges while you pursue growth. Difficult days will still arrive. Unexpected problems will still appear. Moments of doubt will still exist. Discipline is not valuable because it removes challenges. It is valuable because it helps you face them. It provides stability when emotions fluctuate. It provides direction when circumstances become confusing. It provides momentum when progress feels slow. Perhaps the most important lesson is this: you do not rise to the level of your intentions. You rise to the level of your habits. Intentions matter. Goals matter. Dreams matter. But habits determine whether those dreams become reality. A person with powerful goals and weak habits struggles. A person with strong habits gradually creates powerful results. That is why discipline deserves so much respect. It transforms possibility into reality. It transforms desire into action. It transforms potential into achievement. And it does so quietly, without fanfare, without dramatic announcements, without requiring perfect conditions. The process is simple, not easy, but simple. Choose the better action. Repeat it. Continue repeating it. Allow time to multiply the effect. Trust the process long enough for the results to appear. There will be moments when progress feels invisible. Continue. There will be moments when motivation disappears. Continue. There will be moments when setbacks occur. Continue. There will be moments when doubt becomes loud. Continue. Every meaningful accomplishment is built on the ability to continue. The people who create extraordinary lives are rarely extraordinary because they never struggle. They are extraordinary because they refuse to surrender to temporary struggles. They understand that discomfort passes, fatigue passes, fear passes, doubt passes, but the benefits of disciplined action remain. Years from now, you will not be grateful for every moment of comfort you chose. You will be grateful for the moments you chose growth. You will be grateful for the moments you chose courage. You will be grateful for the moments you chose responsibility. You will be grateful for the moments you chose discipline. Because those moments shape identity. Those moments shape character. Those moments shape destiny. Every day offers a fresh opportunity to cast another vote for the person you want to become. Not through grand declarations, not through perfect performance, through simple actions, through consistency, through commitment, through discipline. The future version of you is not created in a single dramatic moment. That person is created gradually, one decision at a time. One habit at a time, one disciplined day at a time. And if you dedicate 6 months to becoming stronger, wiser, healthier, more focused, and more intentional, you may discover something remarkable. The life that once seemed distant begins to feel attainable. The goals that once seemed overwhelming begin to feel manageable. The person you hoped to become begins to feel familiar. Not because luck intervened, not because circumstances suddenly became perfect, but because you learned, one of the most powerful truths a person can learn. Small, disciplined actions, repeated consistently over time, possess the power to change an entire life. And when you truly understand that, 6 months is no longer a short period of time. It becomes the beginning of a completely different future.